Hey vinyl community, Trevor back with another Flat, Round, and Spun. Today I'd like to do a ranking of one of my all-time favorite bands, San Francisco's own Faith No More. If you can, please subscribe and smash, hit, tap, break the bell for notifications for new videos when I post them. I was going to give a brief history of Faith No More, but I kept on messing up and so many takes. I'm just going to let you guys look it up on your own through Wikipedia or other various sites that have all kinds of history on Faith No More. But in my opinion, they're one of the greatest bands ever. So let's start with number 7. Not that I hate this album. I don't dislike it. It's just when you're doing a ranking, you got to start from the bottom. And for me, this album is really good. It was their comeback record after a long hiatus of about 17, 18 years. And that is Soul Invictus. It's a good record. There's songs on here that I really like. The first single that came off it was Motherfucker, which was a really cool single. Superhero's good, which was the other single. The one song I really dig off here is Matador. Kind of, as the name implies, it has kind of a Spanish sound to it at times, but it's heavy and melodic, and Mike Patton sounds really cool on it. The whole band sounds great. So, Soul Invictus, number 7. Coming in at number 6 is the album I first heard Faith No More. Me and a friend went record shopping when we were in high school, and he bought this on cassette. He's just like, oh, wait, these guys are friends with Metallica. So he got it, and we listened to it, and quite frankly, I didn't like it at all at the time. But years later, after I got reintroduced to them, little play on words there for later on, but I picked it up again because I was really digging them, and that would be the debut album, We Care a Lot, from 1985. It does have some really cool stuff on here. It's the original recording of the song We Care a Lot. What else do I really like on here? Greed is really cool. As the Worm Turns. It's just, after all these years, it is a much better record than I remembered it back in the 80s. So that's number 6. Coming in at number 5 is what we thought was going to be the final album from Faith No More, which was 1997's Album of the Year. It's a really good album. I was working at a record store at the time of this release. I had an advance copy of it on CD, took it home, listened to it, went back to work, and my boss was asking me, so what'd you think of the new Faith No More? I'm like, Album of the Year, it's aptly titled, it's probably not going to go anywhere. And in the States, it didn't really sell that well. I'm sure over in Europe and elsewhere, it did phenomenal. Yeah, they were kind of on the popularity decline in the States, at least. I got to see them on this tour. They played a club in Detroit called St. Andrews Hall. Great show, had a blast. It was really cool. Songs on here that I really dig. Collision just comes out, the opening track comes out smashing, just like the name implies. What was the single Last Cup of Sorrow was really good on there. Ashes to Ashes, Path of Glory, Homesick Home, really good stuff. Still recommend. I recommend all these albums, so I'm just going to repeat myself all the time. Coming in at number 5, Album of the Year. Coming in at number 4 was an album I didn't know if I was going to like it because there was a member change. Someone I felt was very important to the band. This is the first album post guitarist Jim Martin, and that would be King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime from 1995. It did take me a minute to get used to it, but I really do love this album. There's so many good songs on here, like all Faith No More's albums. But there's some different stuff on here, like the song Evidence, which is a very almost R&B song on there. Star AD, which could kind of pass off as a Tom Jones song in a way. Then normal, typical Faith No More stuff like Ugly in the Morning, Dig in the Grave, Ricochet. The title track King for a Day is, and no pun intended, is just an epic song. Really, really good. The performances of it is great. Trey Spruance from Mr. Bungle provided the guitar on this, and he just did a great job on it. So number 4, King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime. Coming in at number 3 was the second album I bought of Faith No More after I started really getting into them. It did sound different to me because it had a different singer to it, but it was Introduce Yourself from 1987. Chuck Mosley on vocals. Just, again, great stuff. A bit more on the funkier side with the re-recording of We Care a Lot. One of my all-time favorite Faith No More tracks, Chinese Arithmetic. Such a badass song. Faster Disco is a great opener on this. Blood, great song. And Spirit with the chanting kind of vocal on there. But it sounds very much like their big album, which I'll be playing or showing off in a little bit here. But coming in number 3, Faith No More, Introduce Yourself. Okay, and this is where things start getting controversial. If you know the catalog, you know who the top 2 are going to be. And for me, these 2 albums, they could flip-flop almost any time. It's really close in me deciding which one to pick. This one is a fan favorite. If you listen to the podcast Croissant, which is a Faith No More based podcast, they're doing episodes on each individual song on this album. That's how much fans love this. But I had to put it at number 2, and that's 1992's Angel Dust. This is a juggernaut of an album. They were coming off the popularity of their previous album, and they kind of wanted to stray away from that sound that they had, and they went to a much darker tone. Mike Patton, he was able to have more input on his on the songwriting and on his vocals, and man, there's so many songs on here that are great. Opening track, Land of Sunshine. Caffeine is just a punch in the face. The first single, Midlife Crisis, kind of going back into the more rap rock thing. What else? Malpractice. Small Victory is very melodic. Jizzlobber is just crushing. I got to see him twice on this tour. The first time was the big stadium tour with Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and me personally, I thought Faith No More stole the show. Metallica became what I call just arena rock, and Guns N' Roses were Guns N' Roses. So anyway, my takeaway from that show was these guys ruled. And then I got to see him do a headline show a few months later, and of course it was fantastic. So number 2, Angel Dust. And coming in at number 1, no shock here, but it's 1989's The Real Thing. This is the first appearance of Mike Patton. He debuted on this album. to be truthful, when this first came out in 1989, that summer, they had the single for From Out of Nowhere. Didn't really hook me in. And it just sounded too rock to me, because at the time I was really into thrash and heavier things. It wasn't until a couple months later when the big single Epic came out, and those crushing guitars of Jim Martin really got me on it, and I bought it shortly thereafter. I was hooked on it, and a lot more different songs than I was expecting on it. Surprise You're Dead, which is almost kind of thrashing away. Zombie Eaters is kind of a roller coaster of dynamics, of softer into heavier stuff. The title track, The Real Thing, has to be one of my all-time favorite songs from Faith No More. And another huge favorite for me is Woodpecker from Mars. It's instrumental, and it's just incredible. When I was really deep into this record, I was kind of going through a dark period in my life, and this album helped me out so much, and so it holds a special place in my heart. So, and yeah, I got to see them for the first time on this album. They were towards the end of this album cycle. They were on tour with Robert Plant, out of all people. Saw them at the Fox Theater in Detroit, and as soon as they were done, me and my friend split, and got to meet Roddy Bottum and Jim Martin outside, and they were really cool, and so this will always hold a special place in my heart. So anyway, number one, 1989's The Real Thing. So that's my ranking. I'd like to hear yours. Just put them in the comments, and I'll read them, and we'll do some exchanges there. And like I said before, if you can, subscribe, hit, smash, break that bell if you can, and we'll talk to you next time, and keep on rocking. See ya.